What up, guys? Uh, this is YN reacts to Wings of Fire. Tony Soprano Crash Out edition. So it's a pretty good book. I used to read this all the time when I was a young jit, and it's really good. So I really recommend reading it. But to all my homies who couldn't make it through high school, I'm gonna be doing the I'll be doing a Audible audiobook. So, just praying that we all make it, but I'm trying to help y'all out, so I'm gonna be doing audiobook of Wings of Fire. Um so the world I'm gonna start off with a review, just a no spoiler review, and then for future episodes it'll be short and some just the book. But the world building's insane. Like, look at this. Like, look at that. Like, I don't know. You can't really like. I don't know. People be glazing Tolkien, but like, I really think they need to be on that 2ET Sutherland grind. So, um, it's pretty good. Um, yeah, it's really in depth, and like, there's so much like honestly, like people be glazing Tolkien so much, but like Mrs. Sutherland, she like be making her own like races and stuff. Like Tolkien just already used like this oversaturated genre, and he really didn't add anything to it. So I mean, we got the Sky Wings and Sea Wings. Like Sky Wings, and Sea Wings are so like unique, and I mean Rain Wings, bro. Like only Sutherland, like rainforest dragons. Like that's something you see at a dragon bale. That's it. So, and these are my favorite. The Night Wings. Um, Really cool stuff. All right, I'm gonna start off with the Dragonet prophecy. When the war has lasted 20 years, the Dragonets will come. When the land is soaked in blood and tears, the Dragonets will come. Find the sea-wing egg of deepest blue, the wings of night shall come to you. The largest egg in mountain high will give to you the wings of sky. For wings of earth search through the mud for an egg of color of dragon blood. And hidden alone from the rival queens, the sandwig egg awaits unseen. Of three queens who blister and blaze and burn, two shall die and one shall learn. If she bows to a fate that is stronger and higher, she'll have the power of the wings of fire. 5 eggs to hatch on brightest night, 5 dragons born to end the fight. Darkness will rise to bring the light. The dragonets are coming. Prologue. A dragon was trying to hide in the storm. Lightning flickered across the dark clouds. Hivitor clutched his fragile cargo closer. If he could try to make it over the mountains, he'd be safe. He escaped the sky dragon's place unseen, and the secret cave was so close. But his theft had not been as stealthy as he had thought, and eyes as black as obsidian were already tracking him from below. The enormous dragon on Mountain Ledge had pale gold scales that radiated heat like a desert horizon. Her black eyes narrowed, watching the gleam of silver wings far up in the clouds. She flickered her tail, and behind her 2 more dragons rose to the sky and dove into the heart of the storm. A piercing shriek echoed off the mountains as their talons seized the moon-pale ice dragon. Bind his mouth, the waiting dragon ordered as her soldiers dropped Hiveta on the slick wet ledge in front of her. he was already inhaling, ready to attack. Quickly! One of the soldiers grabbed a chain from the pile of smoldering coals. He threw it around the ice dragon's snout, clamping his jaws together with sizzling smell of burning scales. Hivitor let out a muffled scream. Too late! The sand dragon's forked tongue slithered in and out of her mouth. You won't be using your freezing death breath on us, ice dragon. He was carrying this, Queen Burn, said one of the soldiers, handing her a dragon egg. Burn squinted in the egg through the downpour. This is not an Icewing egg, she hissed. You stole this from the Skywing Palace. The Icewing stared back at her. Hissing steam circled his snout, where the hot chains met the cold silver scales. You thought you got away unnoticed, didn't you? Burn said. My Skywing ally is not a fool. Queen Scarlet knows everything that happens in her kingdom. Her lookouts reported an Icewing thief sneaking away, and I decided finding you might add some violence to my boring visit. Burn held the large egg up to the light of the fire and turned it slowly. Red and gold shimmer below the pale, smooth surface. Yes, this is a Skywing egg about to hatch, Burn mused. Why would my sister send you to steal a Skywing dragonette? Blaze hates any dragon younger and prettier than she is. She thought for a moment, as rain drummed on the edge around them. Unless the brightest night is tomorrow. Her tail flicked up like a scorpion's, the poisonous barb inches from Hivitor's eyes. You're not in Blaze's army, are you? You're one of those stupid, insipid underground peacemongers. The challenge of peace, said one of the soldiers. You mean they're real? Burn snorted. A few worms crying over a little blood. Unwrap his chains. He won't be able to freeze us until his scales cool down. The enormous sand dragon leaned closer as her soldier pulled the chain away. Tell me, Ice Dragon, do you really believe in that pompous old Nightwing's prophecy? Haven't enough dragons died for your war, snarled Helvitor, wincing at the pain in his jaws. All of Pyria has suffered for the last 12 years. The prophecy says, I don't care. No prophecy decides what happens to me, Burn interrupted. I'm not letting a bunch of worlds or baby dragons choose when I die or what I bow to. We can have peace when my sisters are dead. I am the queen of the Sandwings. Her venomous tail dripped closer to the silver dragon. Rain pattered on Hivitor's scales. He glared up at her. The dragonettes are coming, whether you like it or not, and they'll choose who the next Sandwing queen should be. Really? Burn stepped back and turned the egg slowly between her talons. Her forked tongue slipped in and out of her smile. So, Icewing, is this egg a part of your pathetic prophecy? Hivitor went still. Burn tapped lightly on the eggshell with one loose talon. Hello, she called. Is there a dragonette of destiny in there?
ready to come out and end this big bad war?
Leave it alone, Vitor choked out.
Tell me, Burns said, what becomes of your precious prophecy? If one of the 5 dragonets is never hatched at all?
You wouldn't, he said.
No one...
No one would harm a dragon egg. His blue eyes were fixed desperately on her talons.
No wings of sky to help save the world,
Burns said.
What a sad, sad story.
She began tossing the egg from one claw to another.
I guess that means you should be very, very careful with this terribly important little oops.
With an exaggerated lunge, Burn pretended the wet egg was slipping through her talons, and then she let it fall over the side of a cliff into the rocky darkness below. No! Hivitos shrieked. He flew off of the 2 soldiers and flung himself toward the egg. Burn slammed her massive claws down on his neck.
So much for destiny, she smirked. So much for your tragic little movement.
You're a monster, the Icewing gasped, writhing under her talons. His voice cracked with despair. We'll never give up. The dragonets will come to stop this war. Burn leaned down to hiss into his ear.
Even if they do, it'll be far too late for you.
Her claws ripped through the silver dragon's wings, shredding them as Hivitor shrieked in agony. With a swift movement, she stabbed her poisonous tail through his skull and flung the long silver body over the edge of the cliff. The ice dragon's screams cut off long before the echoes of his corpse slammed into the rocks below. The Sandwing turned her black eyes to her soldiers.
Perfect,
she said.
That should be the last we hear about that stupid prophecy.
She held out her talons so the rain could wash away the glistening dragon blood.
Let's go find something else to kill.
The 3 dragons spread their wings and lifted off into the dark clouds. Some time later, far below, a large dragon, the color of rust, crawled over the rocks to the broken body of the ice dragon. She nudged his tail aside and lifted a shard of the eggshell from underneath it, then slipped back into the labyrinth of the caves under the cliffs. Stone walls brushed against her wings. She breathed out a plume of flame to light her way along the dark passage deep into the mountains.
I stand with the talons of peace,
hissed a voice in the shadows.
Kestrel, is that you? We await the wings of fire,
answered the red dragon. A blue-green sea-wing emerged from a side cave, and she tossed the eggshell at his feet.
Not that it'll do us much good now, she snarled. Hivitor is dead.
The sea-wing stared at the eggshell. But the skywing egg...
Broken, she said. Gone. It's over, Webs.
It can't be, he said. Tomorrow is the brightest night. The 3 moons will all be full for the first time in a century. The dragonets of the prophecy have to hatch tomorrow.
Well, one of them is already dead,
Kestrel said. Rage flickered in her eyes.
I knew I should have stolen the Skywing egg myself. I know the Sky Kingdom. They wouldn't have caught me a second time.
Webbs grimaced, scratching one claw over the gills along his neck. Asha is dead too.
Asha?
A spurt from the flame shot from Kestrel's nose.
How?
Caught in a battle between Blaze and Blister's forces on the way here. She still made it with the red mudwing egg, but she died of her wounds soon after.
So it's just me and you, and Dune to raise the little worms, Kestrel growled.
For a prophecy,
For a prophecy that can never be fulfilled. Let's break the cursed eggs now and be done with it. We'll be long gone before the Talons of Peace return for the Dragonettes.
No, Webb hissed. Keeping the Dragonettes alive for the next 8 years is more important than anything if you don't want to be part of that.
All right, that's enough, Kestrel snapped. I'm the strongest dragon in the Towns of Peace. You need me. It doesn't matter how I feel about nasty little dragonettes.
She eyed the eggshell on the floor, rubbing her scarred palms together.
Although, I thought at least one of them would be a Skywing.
I'll find us a 5th dragonette. Webbs pushed past her, scales scraping against the rocks.
There's no way back in the Sky Kingdom, brainless, she said. They'll be guarding the hatchery closely now.
Then I'll get us eggs somewhere else, he said grimly. The rainwings don't even count their eggs. I could take one from the rainforest without anyone noticing.
Of all the horrible ideas, Kestrel said with a shudder, rainwings are wretched creatures, nothing like skywings.
We have to do something, Webb said. He hissed as his tail sent the eggshells skittering across the floor. In 8 years, the Talons of Peace will come looking for 5 dragonettes. The prophecy says 5, and we're gonna make it come true, whatever it takes.
Alright, y'all. So, I think I'm going to stop there for today. Tomorrow, that was just a prologue. It was kind of long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 pages, and I read the prophecy, so I think I'm going to call it there. I'll start chapter 1 tomorrow. These chapters are pretty short, so it'll be like the same amount of time. Probably shorter because I did the introduction and the conclusion, so if you guys like it, like and subscribe. Make sure to share with everyone. I would be wearing my shiesty up, but it smells like vomit, so I'm not doing that right now. Let me know how the volume is. If you like the voices or not. I'm gonna reuse a lot of voices. I just am. Some of them are too good. But I'm gonna try to make, especially when we get into the actual book, I'm gonna make them consistent. So you'll know who was who. All right, guys. I really hope you liked. Send this to anyone. Like, subscribe, share. Thanks, guys. And remember, the Dragonettes are coming.